My stepson, whom I raised as my own son, actually picked up the crossbow I taught him to use and shot the cat that had been with me for 8 years on the morning I decided to leave. He even put the cat in a gift box and sneered, "You're next. I accept your terms and come back to inherit the family business," I said to the phone and hung up. Looking around the bedroom where I had lived for 8 years, a bitter smile appeared on the corner of my mouth. 8 years of dedication, patience, and love, in exchange for nothing. "Why are you wearing my mother's clothes?" A sudden scream from behind interrupted my thoughts. I turned around and saw Ivan staring at me angrily. "Why don't you speak?" He continued to roar. "Go to your party, Ivan. Your friends must be waiting anxiously," I whispered. "No," he yelled, grabbed the kettle on the table and poured the scalding coffee at me. I screamed and my skin turned red. "You deserve it. You can never replace my mother. You killed her with your evil heart, and now you dare to wear her favorite dress," Ivan roared through gritted teeth. The maid came running over and gasped when she saw my coffee stains and burns all over my body. "Sorry, miss. Ivan is out of control again. I'll take him away now." She apologized hastily and took Ivan away. I sighed and went into the bathroom. The dress actually belonged to my stepsister, Amelia, who was Ivan's biological mother and died after giving birth to him. 8 years ago, I was supposed to marry Michael Russo. He was my childhood sweetheart and we were in love, at least, that's what I thought before the tragedy. Instead, he married my stepsister, who then got pregnant and lived the life I was supposed to have. After Amelia died, I was labeled jinxed and even accused of killing her out of jealousy. As Amelia's only sister and Michael's fiancée, I was assigned to take care of Ivan. My stepmother told me to treat him like my own son. For 8 years, I did it. I cared for and loved Ivan and Michael as if they were my own children. But I gradually realized how stupid I was. Michael never really loved me. Over the years, he and Ivan have been treating me like trash, making it clear to me that my place in this family is nothing more than an insignificant substitute. Ivan has never respected me and has always tried to hurt me. Today is his 8th birthday and I have decided to leave. If it was 3 years ago when he threw hot coffee on me in a tantrum, I might have tried to appease him, but now, I have had enough. The funny thing is, this dress was never Amelia's favorite. She never wore it. It was a dress my late mother gave me, and Amelia took it away from me, just like she took everything else. The party has started. "Rachel, where are you?" Michael's voice came from outside the door, interrupting my thoughts. When I walked out of the bathroom, he came in. Seeing my stained skirt, he sighed. "I heard about Ivan. Don't take it to heart. He's just a kid and he loves you," Michael said. I sneered. "That child doesn't know what love is." Michael frowned. "Don't say that. He's a good kid." I walked away, picked up the ointment on the bedside table, and began applying it to the burned skin. "Let me help you," he said, taking the ointment from my hand and starting to apply it on me without waiting for my response. His fingers rubbed circles over my bruised skin. His touch would have made my heart race a few years ago, but now I felt only disgust. "Be patient with him," he whispered, his breath fanning my neck. I pulled away. "I have something to tell you." Michael frowned. "Can't it wait? Ivan's birthday has just begun." "No. Today is the 8th year, and I want to leave," I said firmly. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Michael roared. I watched his face twist with anger and the atmosphere became tense for a moment, but that didn't stop me from repeating myself. "Michael, this is the 8th year and I'm leaving," I said again. Michael grabbed my hand and tried to pull me out the door, but I pulled away from his grip. "Didn't you say I could leave when he turned 8? Then why are you making such a fuss now?" I asked. Before he could answer, a sharp voice came from behind him. "Rachel, how can you be so shameless? You even want to steal the limelight on a little boy's birthday." I knew who it was without looking. My stepmother, Sarah, Ivan's grandmother. "I'm not stealing the show, Sarah. You said I could leave after 8 years," I said. Sarah sneered. "Do you have to bring this up on my grandson's birthday?" "It's okay. I believe Rachel didn't mean it," Michael interrupted. "A few years ago, I would have been touched by his defense, but now, I know it was just a pathetic attempt to keep me." "Let's go to the party," Michael said to me. I remained silent and let him pull me into the party. Ivan and his friends were having a great time, but when he saw me, his face suddenly darkened. "Ivan, look, your mother is here," someone said. Ivan sneered. "She is not my mother." I stood beside him and Michael sighed and grabbed Ivan's hand. "Don't say that, Ivan. Rachel is your mother and she has always taken care of you," said Michael. Ivan's face was twisted with anger. "No, she can't be my mother. Everyone, this woman killed my mother." All the guests stared at me and the banquet hall was filled with whispers. "She is the boy's aunt. Why doesn't the boy like her? It's clear she wasn't treating him well. Apologize to her now," Michael said to Ivan. I stopped him. "It's okay. It's okay." I walked out of the party calmly. In the past, Ivan's words would have broken my heart, but now, I've gotten used to it. No matter what I do, Michael's heart will always belong to Amelia, and Ivan will always accuse me of replacing his mother. "Why are you making trouble today?" Stepmother Sarah's voice sounded again. "What do I want?" "Sarah, I've been acting for 8 years. I've had enough," I said. "You should have taken care of Ivan like a son, put up with everything about him, and taken care of him. If my daughter were still alive, he would have been treated better," she snapped. I shrugged. "Unfortunately, your daughter is dead." Sarah raised her hand to hit me, but I grabbed her wrist. "Don't think about it, Sarah. I'm in a bad mood right now. You forced me to come here to take care of them 8 years ago. The contract has expired. Ivan is already 8 years old. I have the right to leave." Sarah glared at me and pulled her hand away, rubbing her sore wrist. "Do what you want, Rachel. This is why no one loves you. Not even your father," she said, and turned away. A bitter smile appeared on the corner of my mouth. I haven't seen my father for 8 years. Ever since his beloved daughter died and he sent me away, he has never come to see me again. "I'm sorry. I bought you a present." Calm voice came from behind. I turned around and saw Ivan standing in front of me with an innocent smile on his face. He was holding a beautifully wrapped gift box in his hand. I laughed. "You shouldn't do that." Ivan chuckled. "I am very happy. Please take a look." I took the box and opened it. A foul smell hit me. Inside the box was the body of my cat, shot to death by an arrow. "If you don't let me and my father go, you will soon become like this," Ivan sneered. I looked in horror at the only pet I was allowed into the mansion as I cared for Ivan. "Don't mess with me. Don't make my father angry with me," Ivan said harshly. I watched him storm off, staring at the arrow and the cat. What an irony of fate, because I was the one who taught Ivan archery. I taught him everything, and now he was using it against me. I held the box, stared at my best friend Feifei, and a tear rolled down my cheeks. Why are you freezing outside, Rachel? Don't infect me. Michael's voice came from inside the door. He came up behind me and put his coat over my shoulders, and I shrugged, realizing that wasn't the case. What's wrong? He asked. When he saw the dead cat in the box, a look of disgust appeared on his face. Your son is here to apologize, I said. Michael frowned. He is also your son. I sneered. He hates me, Michael. He killed my cat. Come in. I'll talk to him tomorrow morning and you can bury the cat. I'm sure he was just joking. Just a stupid prank, Michael said. I shrugged and carried the cat to the garden. I didn't want Fifi to be eaten by animals all night. Michael followed me and complained about my stubbornness, but he stayed with me as I buried Fifi. After doing all this, I went back inside. The party was over and the guests had left. It was late and the wind was strong. As Michael hugged me, I sneezed. We went into my room and he sat me on his lap. I felt disgusted. What do you want to do? I asked sharply. Michael sighed. What's wrong, Rachel? I'll buy you a new cat. I want to leave, Michael. Tomorrow, I said. Michael became nervous. Ivan is still a child. I don't trust anyone to take care of him except you. Besides, where do you want to go? It's not like you have anyone else. I shrugged. I'd worry. There's no place for me here. It's been 8 years and you still won't marry me. Michael sighed. I already told you, Rachel. I can't take another wife now. I didn't ask you to do this. In fact, I don't want to marry you. I just want to leave you. Well, why don't you give me a child? That way I can guarantee a future for you and your child. If you give me a child, no one will dare to say anything bad about you. Ivan will also have a brother or sister. I smiled bitterly. I had nothing left, my pride gone, and 8 years later, he still wanted me to bear him an illegitimate child. All this was just to protect Ivan and to let me live under the same roof with him. I've told the maid everything she needs to know about Ivan. He's homeschooled, so you can find the best tutor for him, or send him to school. He doesn't need me anymore, I said. Michael kissed me and said, get some sleep and tell me how you feel in the morning. I didn't sleep that night. I kept seeing Feifei's face as I packed my luggage. Morning came earlier than expected and after a quick shower I headed outside with my suitcase in tow. It's finally happening. I'm leaving. But of course, I wasn't going to go away peacefully. There was a slow round of applause in the courtyard, followed by a familiar laugh. Well, Susan drawled, leaning against the pillar with a hint of a smile on her face. Have you come to your senses at last? I sighed. Susan was Michael's mistress and Ivan's favorite. I ignored her and kept walking, but she blocked my way, tilting her head in a funny way. 8 years, Rachel, she continued, crossing her arms. For 8 years, I've been playing house, waiting for a man who never wanted you. Now, after all this time, you're finally leaving. She laughed. It took you a long time to realize that Michael and Ivan would never love you. You're nothing more than a useless concubine. I met her gaze, my expression unreadable. Enjoy it, I said simply. Do whatever you want. It's none of my business anymore. Her smile widened. Oh, I will. Don't worry, she whispered. Soon, I'll be moving in to take your place. Before I could respond, the front door opened. Michael came out, followed by Ivan. In an instant, Susan's whole expression changed. Panting violently, she dropped to her knees, clutching the hem of my skirt as if her life depended on it. Rachel, please, she sobbed, her voice filled with desperation. Please don't go. Ivan needs you. You've been taking care of him for all these years. How can you just abandon him like this? I looked down at her blankly. Ivan loves you. He really does, she continued, her voice breaking. He's just a kid. Please, don't leave him. I'm so sorry about everything. Please, Rachel. Michael sighed harshly, his patience clearly running out. Stop messing around, he snapped. Stop it and go back. His eyes were as cold as ever. If you want, I can find you another cat. Don't put any more pressure on Susan. I clenched my fists, but before I could say anything, Ivan ran over to Susan and hugged her with his arms open. Stand up, Susan, he whispered, wiping away her fake tears with his little hands. Then, his eyes met mine, burning with hatred. You killed my mother with your evil heart. He spat out the words, his voice full of disgust. And now you want to hurt Susan. Ivan turned to face Susan, his face softening. Don't cry, Susan. Don't worry. Let go of Rachel. I don't want her in my life. I don't need her. He lifted his chin, and his next words hurt more than any wound. I want you to stay. You should be my mother. You should marry my father. He turned and looked at me with only contempt in his eyes. You are a vicious woman with a bad heart. That's why my father will never love you. A cruel smile slowly appeared at the corner of his mouth. I'm glad you left. I swallowed the lump in my throat and took one last look at the boy I had raised, the boy I thought of as my own. It's been 8 years. If you still see me this way, then there's really no point in me staying, I said with a sigh. I didn't say another word and turned away. As I was dragging my suitcase towards the door, Ivan pulled out his crossbow and shot at my head.